Welcome to Marvelous DJs Cheat Code Live. Yours truly, DJ Mike Marvelous, answering questions live here on Cheat Code this week, celebrating the 100th video of Cheat Code. Thank you to all my followers, all my subscribers, all the people that comment, the good and the bad. I love y'all equally. We're going to continue to get it in. Hopefully, the Cheat Code has been able to help those that are just starting in DJing or really just trying to learn or pick up some tips and tricks. Having a mentor is not easy, right? Sometimes you don't have a person to go to ask questions when it comes to things like DJing and stuff like that. So that's why I made Cheat Code, to try and help others that may not have those opportunities to find somebody else in the DJ game. Just try to give them some game. All right. So thank y'all for subscribing. I do appreciate it. A lot more to come in Cheat Code, I'm telling you. All right, here we go. We got some questions rolling in the final minutes here, right? All right, so what inspired me to become a DJ? All right, so what inspired me to become a DJ? And some of you may laugh. So it's a movie. The movie's called Juice, right? That's my number one inspiration to become a DJ. I just thought it was really cool in the movie. So if you haven't saw it, go check out Juice. That's what inspired me. Shouts out to Juice, Q, Bishop, Steele, Raheem, Radamez. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But that was my inspiration for DJing. That's my original inspiration. Secondly, I was hearing music, and I thought I could make it a little bit better, right? I thought I would be able to do things to the music. In my head, I had that I could do things to the music, and that's another thing that kind of inspired me, is almost like producer-like, but using the stuff that was currently out to kind of flex it, bend it, and do different things with it. So another thing that really inspired me to become a DJ. Thanks for that question. Okay, another question. What was the biggest challenge that I faced when I first started out? Biggest challenge was getting people to believe that I could actually rock their event, right? Like, getting gigs is the hardest thing. I mean, today, you all have social media where you can kind of prove yourself a little bit, but doing it live and doing it on, online is a little bit different, because now you got a crowd you kind of got to flex for and, bend for. So that's one of the main reasons why I became a DJ, is, to really entertain the crowds, right? Give them something inspirational, have them dancing, keep them running. But the biggest challenge when I first started was actually getting events, getting gigs, getting events. Do I remember my first gig? My first gig. I remember one of my first gigs, and I don't know if this is the first one. So I DJ'd in my house, and I had a friend of mine, DJ Twix, who DJ'd in his house. So I was the hip-hop DJ. I had all the hip-hop vinyl records, and DJ Twix had all the Baltimore club records. So we decided to team up and do an event together. So we ended up bringing two separate equipment. Like he had his equipment, I had my equipment. He was at his table, I was at my table. So when it was time to play the hip hop, I would play the hip hop on my sound system and my turntables, and then when it's time to play the club, he would go and start the club music. We kind of coordinated that. That was one of the first events that I've done. But we had that set up all around. I mean, we made it work, right? But he was accustomed to what he was using, I was accustomed to what I was using. We just set up on like two different tables, kind of catacorn to each other. I did a set, he did a set, I did a set, he did a set. So that was my first event. I think I had some like, remember the house speakers? They used to have the little wires? Those was my speakers, right? And they would light up because there was too much power going to them from the amp. Yeah, it was wild. Oh, real good question. Do I prefer vinyl, CDJs, or digital controllers? Now, I've DJ'd on all three. As you see here today, I have a controller and I have my turntable. So I have my controller on a stand, and then I have my turntables on the table. My preference is the turntables. I like the feel of wax. That's where I first started with the turntables. So that is my preference. But believe you me, my back enjoys DJing on the controllers, right? I don't have to carry these heavy turntables, a mixer. I got coffins for these things. So I definitely have and will rock a party on any controller. But my first love, as far as DJing is concerned, is turntables, right? So that's what I like to use. But I'll definitely do controllers. CDJs, I used to use them, but I'm not a big CDJ DJ. But I mean, if I got to use them, I can get on there and spin those too. All right, great question. These questions are rolling in here. May have to extend this just a little bit, but let's see. Do I ever freestyle my set or stick to the plan? So, really good question, and I'm gonna switch this track in a few. So, do I freestyle my set or do I stick to the plan? And I guess what you mean by plan is, do I have a playlist, right? So, a lot of times I freestyle, right? If it's a wedding, I'm gonna get a playlist, and I'll take that playlist and I'll incorporate some other songs with that playlist. But most of the time, I'm gonna show up with some songs I know that's gonna rock a crowd, and then from there, I'm gonna add in some other stuff as I'm hearing or as I'm feeling the mix. It depends on where the night takes me, right? So the night could take me into an R&B set, and I'll do an R&B set. But most of the time, those sets are not pre-done. Those sets, not necessarily pre-done, but those sets are not in order the way I set it up, right? Those sets are generally freestyled. I go in my crates, and I find the tracks that I need. All right, we got another question here. What about genres? Has anyone asked you to DJ an event where you weren't familiar with the genre of music? Did you accept or reject the event? All right, so yes. In the very beginning, I used to reject all types of events, right? I used to say I'm a hip-hop DJ, I DJ hip-hop, and there are a lot of DJs that are solely in their niche, right, in their genre. I used to turn down events that I was not comfortable with. My breakout was when I started to open up the catalog a bit and do different events, do different genres, because it allowed me to use what I learned in hip-hop to go over to classic rock or country, and to be honest, all crowds listen to primarily the same stuff. You can rock a crowd with primarily the same hits, but when it comes to those deep cut tracks, it just depends on that. But to answer your question again, is Yes, I've turned down events because I wasn't familiar with the genre. Some events I wish I would have turned down because I wasn't familiar with the genre, but you live and learn, right? So get comfortable with different genres and incorporating that into your set, because you will be surprised. As you can see, we got artists starting to get into the country music space, right? Beyonce, Neo, Shabuzi, right? So we getting into that space where we're starting to cross over. Good music is good music. So that's kind of, once I reached that, I kind of knew I had it. And that's when my career kind of started to go up, when I started to open up my playlist a little bit. Good question. All right, let's see. Ooh, pre-gig ritual. All right, so this is funny. I don't really have a ritual, but I do have like a transformation. Like I have to turn into DJ Mike Marvelous, right? You can ask my wife, I probably get real quiet, right? Because I'm starting to get into my head before I arrive to the event, right? And normally when I'm driving to the event, music's bumping. I'm listening to stuff that I'm not going to play for that night, right? Just generally because I don't want the radio or whatever I'm listening to kind of entice me to go one way or another when it comes to the gig. My job is to read the crowd, play what the crowd is kind of in the moment. So yeah. So do I have a ritual? Not necessarily. Eat a bunch of candy, get jacked up on, coffee or energy drink or something and go in there and do the thing, right? So not saying you should do that. Don't do that. Drink healthy, drink some water, eat a light snack and get in there and do your thing. On that point, y'all be eating that food at the events? I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I do, right? It's been some good food at some of these events, and others, not so much, right? But I want to know out there, do y'all be eating that food that they be serving at some of these events? Let me know that in the comments. I laugh, and I think other DJs are gonna laugh at that too, because some events, that food is on point. Other events, yeah, good luck with that. I feel like I'm playing the same stuff. Let's just do this. There we go. Now we back in slow-mo. All right, so let's see. How do you see the DJ change? Ooh. Okay, so how do I see the DJ scene changing in the next 5 years? They're not going to like this one. So in the next 5 years, I think, actually, you know what? It's going to be about the same. I don't think much is going to change in 5 years. I think at some point we're going to get that global internet, which is going to cause DJs to stream. And I mean, that's just what it is. They are going to directly be streaming, or there's going to be some kind of device, maybe Starlink, that'll allow you to stream directly. And this is going to help the artists, because when you stream their tracks, they're getting paid, right? But you can also pay for the tracks and download them. But we know how this DJ game goes. Y'all that say all you do is pay for your tracks, we know. Right? So, not saying I don't. Say it's watching. All right, so I do. I pay for my tracks too. So I understand. What's the most rewarding part of being a DJ? Great question. Let's see. Most rewarding part is that for a moment in time, you can have hundreds, thousands of people forget about all their worries and just rock off with you for a little bit, right? Whether it be a wedding, whether it be a club, all those bills, all those problems, all those issues goes away because the DJ makes them go away for a little bit of time. So the most rewarding part about part of being a DJ is that, right? Allowing people to kind of get in a different mood, in a mindset that will allow them to forget about their worries for a little bit. Just for a little bit, short period of time, whether it be one song, a half a song, you did that, right? So that's the most rewarding part of DJing for me is just, allowing people to party and let loose a little bit. What legacy do I hope to leave the music world? I'm trying to pour out here with cheat code, and really, I prayed about it, and God said, give it away. So that's what I'm doing on cheat code. I'm giving you the cheats to get you further a lot faster, right? Because some of the stuff you have to figure out on your own. I get it. You got to practice. But in this case, I'm giving it away. I haven't seen a lot of this. There are DJs on here that are teaching, that are giving some secrets away. But why gatekeep, right? This is a technological world, right? You could Google, you can Copilot, you could, Chat GPT it, whatever you use. But ultimately, that's the legacy I want to give away. That, create a whole bunch of marvelous DJs out there, and hopefully somebody say, yeah, I watched cheat code, and cheat code is what got me here. And that's all I ask for. When you get there, let me know. All right, I'm gonna take a couple more, and then we're gonna close out of Marvelous DJs Cheat Code Live. Yours truly, DJ Mike Marvelous. All right, how did I learn how to mix and scratch? So that's a very good question. How did I learn? I taught myself, right? Listened to others. You don't want to know what I learned how to scratch on, right? So what was the name of the turntables? If Twixer here, he would tell me. I just know they were 100s, right? Like the gray plastic. It's right on the tip of my tongue. But they were just very starter belt drive turntables. And I rigged up the whole turntable I put a penny on top of the stylus. I put little doilies underneath for the record. And it allowed me to scratch very gently, but it allowed me to scratch. I know they were XL 100s. I forget the brand. Gemini XL 100s. That's what it was. So I taught myself how to scratch. Again, I told you, Juice, right? Was the big thing. So learn from Juice, learn from a lot of different, just watching other DJs in Baltimore, just listening on the radio. Funkmaster Flex, right? I used to play his mixtapes. I actually got a chance to see him mix live. DJ Clue, Clue didn't scratch too much. DJ Green Lantern, Who Kid, some of my favorite DJ Jazzy Jeff, right? These are all inspirations, right? Grand Wizard Theodore, I got a chance to meet Grand Wizard Theodore on the scratch, and that was just one of the highlights of my career, is to be able to go and meet the inventor of the scratch, right? So I'd like to thank all of y'all for being inspirations to me and cheat code as a whole. But that's how I learned how to scratch, just paying attention, watching, listening, learning, right? Asking questions. How did I learn how to mix? Again, listening, learning, practice. All right, I'm going to take one last question and we're going to wrap it up here. I greatly appreciate y'all joining, but the biggest question is, what advice would I have for younger DJs in the game, right, that are trying to get to those big events, right? So my career went, I'll just kind of quickly go through my event. My event went local, right, doing events and parties for family and friends. Then it kind of spanned out to my high school, and then it got a little bit further with cookouts, and then it got a little bit further with, people calling because they heard, or your name kind of gets out there. And then I did a DJ battle, a Pepsi DJ battle at the Stone Soul Picnic. Met a couple DJs, worked with a couple DJs. They passed me some events, got into the club thanks to a couple promoters, promotion teams, got with them. They gave me the opportunity to rock out at their parties. That got me in the club. What else? Then I took a break, right? That's a big part of my career. I took a year off because I was having a child. My daughter was born, so I took a year to focus on that. And in that year, I watched y'all. I watched all of y'all. And I said, they still ain't hungry, right? So I came back, and that is when my career really started to skyrocket, right? I did get more into the wedding game, where I started doing weddings. I was doing parties, weddings, events, you name it. I was getting it done. because, like I said, I'm watching how DJs are moving, what events they're tackling, what they're not doing, and I keyed in that and I carved my own lane. I'm gonna cut the music. I carved my own lane and I stayed in that lane and I floored it, right? So that gave me the opportunity to audition for Carnival Cruises, which they offered me something. I ain't take it, but they did offer me something. Thank you, Carnival Cruises. And just looking out for opportunities, right? Really running a business, training other DJs, putting other DJs on, showing them how to do things. Shouts out to DJ Boost, shouts out to DJ Yam, and there's multiple other DJs that, I've talked to and kind of trained and talked to, just like other DJs talk to me. So if you're out there are going to be days where that dance floor is empty, or there's going to be days where you don't get an email back or a phone call back. Keep pushing forward. Grind. Don't pay attention to nobody else, right? Stay in your lane, carve out your lane, do your thing, get this money. Make sure you secure the bag. Yours truly, DJ Mike Marvelous and Marvelous DJs. I greatly appreciate you all for joining us today on Marvelous DJs Cheat Code Live for our 100th video. I'm going to have to chop this up a bit because the questions started to roll in at the end, but it's all good. It's all good. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for subscribing. If you're not a subscriber, go and hit subscribe, hit that notification bell at the end to make sure that you don't miss another cheat code. There are some great things coming. When I say for cheat code, we just getting them prepared, right? I'm being about the business. I'm here to help y'all. And we just going to grow together. Yours truly, DJ Mike Marvelous, Marvelous DJs on this episode of Cheat Code. I don't have my drop. Well, I got my drop. I don't have the cheat code music. So here you go.
Ooh, marvelous.
See y'all.